Every man, at some point, meets the kind of woman who changes everything, not because she stays, but because she leaves. Her absence burns deeper than her presence ever did. You lie awake replaying every word, every glance, every silence, searching for where it all went wrong. But what if heartbreak isn't punishment? What if it's initiation? What if the pain that crushed you was sent to carve something stronger within you? The Stoics believed that suffering is not an enemy, but a forge. And love, especially when it wounds, is the hottest fire a man can endure. This is not just an essay about heartbreak. It's a map for every man learning how to stay calm when his world falls apart, and how to rise, not harder, but wiser. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where every story and lesson about love will help you find the answer. Today, we will explore a new perspective through the topic, how to deal with a woman who hurts you. These are real-life experiences and profound lessons that will change the way you perceive love. Follow me, because the most surprising and interesting things are still waiting for you ahead. Before starting, find a quiet place, put on your headphones and relax your mind. Let the sharing in this video help you feel more fully and enjoy every meaningful moment. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's begin. 1. The wound that teaches. There are moments in a man's life when his chest feels like a battlefield. Not because of war, but because of love. A woman you trusted, perhaps even believed was your destiny, does something that cracks your inner foundation. Maybe she leaves. Maybe she betrays your faith. Maybe she simply drifts away, leaving silence where there used to be laughter. In those moments, your mind becomes your worst enemy. It replays memories like a cruel film you cannot turn off. The why questions circle endlessly. Why did she do this? Why me? What could I have done differently? And beneath it all lies an unspoken truth. You are not just grieving her, you are grieving the version of yourself that existed when you still believed in her. This is where Stoicism begins its quiet whisper. Not in temples, not in books, but in the raw ache of human experience. For the Stoics, pain was not an anomaly to be avoided, it was a teacher. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If that's true, then heartbreak is not an end. It's a beginning, a test of your relationship with yourself. 2. The nature of emotional pain. A Stoic doesn't deny that pain exists. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it." This means the wound is never truly inflicted by another person, not even by the woman who hurt you. The cut exists in your judgment of what her actions mean. If she betrayed you, what hurts more, the betrayal, or the story you built around her fidelity? If she left, what stings deeper, her absence, or your attachment to the version of life you imagined with her? The Stoic approach invites a brutal honesty. Your suffering is not proof of her cruelty, but evidence of your attachment. This isn't self-blame, it's self-liberation. Once you see that your mind shapes the pain, you begin to regain control. Modern psychology echoes this. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which has Stoic roots, teaches that emotions are products of thoughts. Change the thought, and the emotion transforms. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. They practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining loss and betrayal in advance, not to live in fear, but to build inner readiness. A Stoic man loves deeply, but never assumes permanence. He gives his heart fully, but understands that every connection exists under the law of change. 3. What the Stoic man understands about love. A Stoic doesn't view love as possession, but as participation in something fragile and beautiful. He recognizes that every person, including the woman he loves, is on her own path. Her choices are hers alone. You can offer loyalty, honesty, and presence, but you cannot control her behavior. To demand otherwise is to wage war against nature itself. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you're hurt, your mind creates 1,000 invisible wounds, fears, doubts, comparisons. You build mental prisons and then wonder why you cannot escape. The Stoic man steps back. He observes his mind the way a calm general observes a chaotic battlefield. He watches his emotions rise, anger, sadness, longing, and he does not fight them. He lets them pass, knowing that emotions are weather, not climate. He tells himself, "She acted according to her nature, as I will act according to mine." He does not seek revenge, nor does he suppress love. He simply reclaims sovereignty over his inner world. 4. The masculine essence in Stoic healing. To be a man, in the Stoic sense, is not to be cold, it is to be grounded. Modern culture teaches men to either suppress emotions, don't cry, be strong, or drown in them, follow your heart at all costs. Both paths lead to suffering. The Stoic path is balance, to feel deeply but remain unmoved at the core. Imagine your soul as a fortress. The world may throw storms, but your foundation, your principles, must hold. When a woman hurts you, the immature man asks, "How can I make her regret it?" The Stoic man asks, "What can I learn about myself through this?" He understands that pain reveals his hidden dependencies. Perhaps he was too attached to her validation. Perhaps he confused affection with self-worth. Perhaps he loved her more for what she reflected about him than for who she truly was. These realizations sting, but they are sacred, they mark the beginning of masculine awakening. 5. On acceptance and detachment. There is a powerful Stoic exercise, amor fati, love of one's fate. It teaches that everything that happens, including heartbreak, is not only to be accepted but embraced as necessary. Marcus Aurelius would say, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." Be that fire. Let her betrayal, her absence, her coldness, be the wood that fuels your transformation. This doesn't mean you suppress sadness. You allow it, but you don't identify with it. You feel, but you don't fall. When you stop resisting reality, suffering transforms into strength. When you stop asking, "Why did she do this?" and start asking, "What does this reveal about me?" you reclaim your power. Have you ever realized that, in love, moments of silence are sometimes more powerful than 1,000 words? Because in silence, we can hear our heartbeat more clearly and feel the presence of the other person more deeply. Here, I want to explore with you that strength, peace, and stability even when love goes through challenges. If you feel that these shares bring you something positive, please click like to support. And if you haven't clicked subscribe, do it now, so you don't miss any insight into love and maturity. I also hope to hear your story. What is the most valuable lesson that love has taught you? Please share in the comments section so we can learn and be inspired together. Come on, let's move on to the next part with a more prepared mind. 6. The Stoics' process of healing. Healing is not an act, it's a discipline. When a woman has hurt you, your first instinct may be to escape, distract yourself, chase new affection, bury yourself in work, or drown your thoughts in noise. But the Stoic path is the opposite. It asks you to face the pain directly, without running from it or dramatizing it. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, often wrote as if he were consoling himself. He did not write for an audience, he wrote to survive the chaos of his own mind. That is how you must approach your healing, as a dialogue between the wounded and the wiser parts of yourself. When you sit with the pain, you begin to see that heartbreak is not a single emotion, it's a symphony of smaller feelings, regret, pride, fear, nostalgia, longing. Each of these has its own voice, and they all demand attention. But attention is not indulgence. A Stoic does not repress feelings, nor does he wallow in them. He observes them. Epictetus said, "When something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it." Healing, then, is not about erasing the memory of her. It's about transforming your attitude toward what happened. You start to see the event not as a curse, but as a teacher, not as an ending, but as a correction. Ask yourself, what attachment made me vulnerable to this pain? What expectation was I secretly demanding from her? What illusion about love or myself was shattered through this? The Stoic man heals not by forgetting, but by understanding. Once he understands, the emotional wound becomes wisdom. And wisdom, unlike passion, does not fade. Healing also requires solitude, but not isolation. Solitude is sacred because it reconnects you to your own voice. After heartbreak, you need to detox from her presence, her scent, her messages, her photos. Every trace of her keeps your mind tethered to a past that no longer exists. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Freedom begins when you stop depending on her for peace. Each morning, remind yourself. She has acted according to her nature. I must now act according to mine. And your nature, as a Stoic man, is not revenge, not bitterness, but self-mastery. Your task is not to change her, it is to rebuild yourself into someone so grounded that no loss can destroy you again. 7. Regaining emotional sovereignty. Emotional sovereignty means that no one else dictates your peace of mind. It's the art of ruling the inner kingdom, regardless of what happens in the external world. When a woman hurts you, the natural instinct is to believe that she took something from you, your time, your love, your trust. But a Stoic understands that no one can take what you freely gave. What you offered was a gift. And once given, it is no longer yours to reclaim. The act of giving is what defines your strength, not the reaction it receives. This realization shifts the entire balance of power. She may have broken the bond, but she cannot break your character. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. To regain mastery, you must stop negotiating your worth in her court. You must stop measuring your value by her attention or absence. Every time you think, I need closure, understand that you already have it, the closure is her action. She revealed who she is. That revelation, painful as it may be, is the answer. The rest is your mind refusing to accept what is already clear. Here is a Stoic practice for emotional sovereignty. Observation without reaction. When the memory of her appears, do not indulge or suppress it. Simply observe, a thought of her arises. Watch it pass like a cloud. Journaling as reflection, each evening, write what emotions tried to control you that day. Marcus Aurelius did this nightly. By writing, you separate the emotion from the observer. Voluntary discomfort, practice minor discomforts. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, walk without headphones. These acts train your mind not to panic when life withdraws comfort, just as it did when she left. The Stoic man reclaims his power by disciplining his reactions. He learns that peace is not a reward, it is a skill. When you master your inner weather, no external storm can move you. 8. Love after the pain, a Stoic's return to the world. Many men, after heartbreak, swear never to love again. They wear cynicism as armor, mistaking numbness for strength. But Stoicism does not teach withdrawal from life, it teaches engagement without attachment. Marcus Aurelius loved deeply, his writings show compassion for people who disappointed him again and again. Yet he never allowed their failures to poison his heart. Why? Because his love was rooted in principle, not dependency. To love again, the Stoic man must love differently. He does not seek a woman to fill a void, he seeks a companion to share the fullness he already possesses. He does not say, I need you to be happy. He says, I choose to share my peace with you. That is a radical shift in masculine energy. You stop chasing validation. You start radiating stability. You become a lighthouse, not a lost ship. A Stoic man loves with eyes open. He understands impermanence, that people change, that love evolves, that even beauty fades. Yet, he still chooses to love. Because love, in its pure form, is not possession, it's participation in the divine rhythm of life. When you meet someone new, carry the lesson, not the wound. Let your past pain refine your discernment, not harden your heart. Seneca advised, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Don't let the ghost of one woman haunt your capacity for connection. The Stoic does not live in fear of being hurt again, he trusts his ability to recover. Love again, not because you need to, but because it honors your strength to rise. 9. Practical Stoic exercises for letting go. The Stoics were not just philosophers, they were practitioners. They believed wisdom meant little unless it was lived. If you want to truly move on from a woman who hurt you, philosophy must become practice. Here are Stoic exercises to help you detach and grow stronger. 1. Premeditatio malorum, anticipate loss. Each morning, remind yourself that everything you love is temporary, not to be sad, but to appreciate it deeply. Tell yourself, this person may leave, and that is their right. My peace does not depend on their staying. When loss arrives, it won't feel like a shock, it will feel like an event you were born ready for. 2. View from above. Visualize yourself from a higher perspective, imagine looking down at your life from the stars. See your heartbreak as one brief episode in the vastness of existence. Suddenly, her rejection shrinks in scale, and your suffering softens into perspective. 3. Negative visualization. Instead of clinging to memories of her affection, visualize her faults, her distance, her humanity. This breaks the illusion that she was perfect. You remember she was merely another soul, flawed, fleeting, and free. 4. The dichotomy of control. Write down 2 columns. What I can control, my thoughts, my reactions, my habits, my focus. What I cannot control, her choices, her feelings, her opinions, her return. Then promise yourself to pour all your energy into the first column. The second deserves none of your peace. 5. The discipline of gratitude. Every night, write 3 things the heartbreak taught you. Gratitude is the final act of healing, it turns pain into wisdom. When you can say, thank you, to the one who hurt you, you know you are free. In love, sometimes silence is the answer. It gives us time to listen to ourselves and understand the other person's heart better. That's also the reason I share stories on this channel, so that you have a pause, a peaceful space to reflect. If you find this meaningful, please click like and don't forget to subscribe, so that we can continue to accompany each other on the journey to find a peaceful and profound love. Now, let's continue the rest with me. 10. Closing reflections, becoming the man pain tried to break. When a woman hurts you, she unknowingly gives you a gift, the chance to become unshakable. Every great man in history has walked through the fire of heartbreak. It is a sacred initiation, one that either breaks you or awakens you. The Stoic path teaches that the goal is not to avoid suffering, but to transcend it. You are not a victim of her actions, you are a student of your own evolution. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Let this heartbreak become your way. The woman who hurt you becomes a chapter, not the whole book. You outgrow the story by outgrowing the man who suffered. You stop chasing closure because you have become the closure. You stop seeking revenge because you have found redemption in discipline. And one day, when you think of her, you won't feel anger or sadness, only calm. You will realize that she did not destroy you, she introduced you to yourself. That is the essence of Stoicism in love. To feel deeply, to lose gracefully, and to stand firmly, knowing that no one can wound the soul that governs itself. 11. when silence becomes strength. There is a kind of silence that is heavy, almost unbearable, the silence after she walks away, the silence of unanswered messages, the silence of nights when your thoughts echo louder than any sound. Most men fear this silence because it feels like death, the death of connection, of meaning, of the story they once lived. But to the Stoic man, silence is not an enemy. It is an ally. It is the arena where clarity is born. 1. The modern man's addiction to noise. We live in a world that worships reaction. Social media teaches us that every feeling must be expressed, every thought must be shared, every wound must be displayed. But the Stoic knows that the more you react, the less you control. When a woman hurts you, the world expects you to respond, to explain, to defend, to seek closure, to prove your worth. But strength does not come from proving yourself to others. Strength comes from mastering the impulse to prove anything at all. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. For it is the truth I'm after, not my own ego." In silence, you're no longer fighting her, or the world, you're confronting your own ego. The part of you that wants to be right, that wants to be vindicated, that wants her to see your pain and regret losing you. But silence denies the ego its food. It forces it to starve, and through that starvation, your soul begins to awaken. 2. The discipline of non-reaction. To choose silence is not weakness, it's self-command. It's the art of standing still while your emotions beg you to move. It's the quiet refusal to be manipulated by your own anger, nostalgia, or pride. When she texts you after weeks of absence, silence is not ignoring, it's discerning. You ask yourself, what does this message serve? Does it bring peace, or does it reopen wounds? When your mind screams, tell her how you feel, silence whispers, let time reveal what words never can. Seneca said, it is part of the cure to wish to be cured. Silence is the first medicine. It creates the stillness where the fever of emotion can break. Modern psychology calls this emotional regulation. Stoicism called it reasoned restraint. Both lead to the same destination, freedom. 3. Silence and masculine energy. In the ancient world, silence was a mark of maturity. Warriors, philosophers, kings, they all understood that noise is a symptom of unrest. The man who constantly explains himself, argues, or seeks validation has not yet found his center. But the man who can sit in silence, not out of apathy, but out of mastery, radiates presence. He no longer chases attention. His very calmness commands it. This is the essence of masculine energy, stillness, clarity, direction. Not aggression, not dominance, but composure. A Stoic man does not talk about control, he embodies it. He does not silence others, he silences the chaos within. When you remain silent after being hurt, people may misinterpret it. Some will call you cold. Others will call you proud. Let them. The Stoic man does not explain his peace. He lives it. Because silence, when chosen consciously, is not emptiness, it's containment. It's the gathering of strength before motion. 4. The transformation within silence. Spend time in silence long enough, and you begin to hear truths that noise had buried. You realize she was not your only source of love, she was a mirror reflecting what already lived in you. You realize your pain was not just about her, it was about your resistance to what is. You realize that closure is not something she gives, it's something you decide. When you no longer rush to speak or to be seen, you start to see differently. You start to notice that peace isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It arrives quietly, like dawn. The sun doesn't need to argue with the night. It just rises. Silence teaches you that you can survive without her. That your value does not depend on who notices you. That your emotions, like tides, come and go, but the ocean beneath remains vast and still. 5. Practicing the Stoic silence. To cultivate this strength, practice intentional silence every day. Not just verbal silence, but mental silence. Morning stillness, before checking your phone, sit with yourself for 5 minutes. Breathe. Observe your thoughts without chasing them. This is your inner training ground. Response delay, when someone provokes you, especially her, pause before you reply. Count 10 breaths. Ask, is this response born of peace or of pain? Digital silence, avoid posting about your heartbreak. Privacy is power. Your peace grows in the absence of public performance. Evening reflection. Before bed, write down what moments tempted you to break your silence, and whether speaking would have served truth or ego. Through this daily discipline, silence stops being a prison and becomes a weapon. It refines your perception, sharpens your reasoning, and strengthens your resolve. 6. The silent redemption. One day, perhaps months later, she might reach out. Or maybe she never will. Either way, you will have changed. You will no longer need her apology, because silence will have already spoken louder than words ever could. You will have become something far rarer, a man who does not react, but responds, who does not chase, but chooses, who does not explain, but embodies. This is the silent redemption, when your peace becomes your loudest statement. When your calmness unsettles those who expected you to fall apart. When your stillness becomes your strength. And that is when you understand one of the greatest Stoic truths. He conquers twice, who conquers himself first. Conclusion. A woman's betrayal, her silence, or her departure, none of these define you. What defines you is how you respond when your heart breaks. Most men let pain turn them bitter, a Stoic man lets pain turn him better. The Stoic path is not about indifference, it's about discipline. It's about standing in the fire without losing your form. When life removes what you love, it is not cruelty, it is correction. It strips away illusion so that truth can stand bare. You have learned that love is not possession, that peace is not given, and that closure is not requested, it is earned through self-mastery. The woman who hurt you played her part in your awakening. Her absence was your invitation to meet the version of yourself that doesn't need validation, that no longer trembles when affection is withdrawn. And when you finally reach that stillness, you will see that nothing was lost, only revealed. You will thank the pain for its precision, for teaching you what no comfort ever could. Because the goal was never to make her return. The goal was to make yourself return, to your strength, your center, your purpose. That is the Stoic victory, not over her, but over the man you were when you needed her. And in that quiet triumph, you discover what every great man eventually learns. No one truly breaks you. They only introduce you to the parts of you that were unbreakable all along. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm so happy to share my lessons about love and relationships with you. I hope you learned something new and can apply it to your life. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for always accompanying and supporting me. Wish you a good day and don't forget to love yourself a lot.